Address. This story comes from the YouTube channel I Do Outdoors, where Brighton and his partners share their love of the natural world through survival camping, bushcraft, hunting, fishing, hiking, and wilderness adventures. On January 26, 2025, the couple headed out on a winter bushcraft camping trip, venturing deep into a remote and isolated stretch of wilderness. After making their way to their chosen spot, far from any roads or other people, they got to work building bushcraft shelters and making camp for the night. With the quiet winter landscape surrounding them, everything felt normal at first. But as the hours passed, the sheer isolation of that place would begin to reveal just how easily that sense of peace can be torn apart by an uninvited presence.
Set up. When we sat down in there, it's actually pretty warm, but most of the wind is coming through this way. So we're gonna build kind of a wall right here. Hopefully this keeps us warm. I wasn't even planning on using this, but you got to use what you have. So I'm gonna start preparing to get the fire ready. That way I can get some of this ground dried off here, and then we can start cooking dinner. It's getting cold fast. Let me grab my thermometer. Right now it's reading 14. Oh, that went up fast.
Because this stuff I think is going to last us a while. It just burns so fast. I think we need a little bit more big size stuff so that it stays.
Okay, right now the temperature is, it says it's about 16 outside, but in there it's 28 degrees.
A fire was built to keep their shelter warm and get dinner going for the evening. As the sun sank below the tree line and the last light of day began to disappear, they settled beside the fire, cooking up their pizza and soaking in the stillness of the wilderness. The forest around them was peaceful, with nothing but the soft crackling of flames cutting through the silence. But as night began to close in, they started noticing something strange lurking just beyond the edge of their campfire's glow. Without warning,
Time that we heard the first yell. We heard two guys way off in the distance yelling. I thought they might have been at my car. We were only a couple 100 yards away from it, and it came from that direction. I walked over to my car, but no one was there. But I did see the lights of a truck off in the distance, and it was parked and it was running with only the cab lights on. I didn't film this part because I didn't think much of it, and it wasn't a very big deal.
I can't get all over everything.
And it's freezing before it hits the ground.
Can you drink all of it? Oh!
It's weird. You can tell how cold it is by how the snow sounds. It almost sounds like a plastic or something. So it's about -12 outside of the shelter. But inside of the shelter, we're reading 6 degrees. At this point, it was quite a bit later than when I first walked down to check on my car. We were just sitting around the fire, and we kept hearing these two guys talking. I kept seeing this truck drive around in the field with its lights off. It started to make me feel a little bit uneasy because they'd been doing this for about half an hour. They didn't have a campfire going, and they seemed to be up there for no reason. And this isn't some popular camping spot. It's January, and it's -12 degrees outside. To get to this place, you need to take kind of a slick road up this canyon, and it's not the easiest place to get into. Then once you get up to this flat area, you need to get off of the road and onto some ATV trails and drive another half mile or so to get to where our car was parked. I kept my eye on these guys, and I walked down to my car every 15 minutes or so just to see if they had left, because their behavior was suspicious, but they weren't doing anything wrong. But things continued to get weirder. Then me and my wife were just sitting around the fire, and we see these lights coming towards our camp. And when they pulled in, they turned off their lights and slowly crept near our car. My immediate thought was maybe these guys think we're in trouble, and maybe they think that we need help or something, or maybe they're just coming to check to see if we're okay. Once this truck got to where we had parked our car, they started shining their brights at us, and they turned off the lights completely. We have a guy right there that parked this truck. He keeps shining his brights at us. And he has not left us alone ever since we got here. It's like almost 9 o'clock at night. This immediately raised the hair on my neck. If these guys were just wanting to talk, why are they turning their lights off? I walked towards my car from the campsite, and right when they had saw that I was there because I turned my light on, they burned out and took off. This was a turning point for me. If these guys had good intentions, why did they burn out of here trying to run away? And why were they trying to sneak around so much? Here's the video footage we got of this. These guys' lights completely off.
Really close to it though.
Okay, so sorry it's kind of dark, but he sat right there for like 5 minutes. He came like feet away from my car, like right here. And then I shone a light at him and he took off.
We're in the middle of nowhere, like super far from town.
All right, so I was just following his tracks a little bit. He chucked this out the window. I don't know what this guy's deal is, but I might follow him out and make sure he leaves.
Well, he kept shouting like stuff at us too.
Brighton spotted headlights slicing through the darkness. A truck had appeared at a distance near their campsite, along with 2 unidentified individuals. This immediately set off alarm bells, as the area was rugged, remote, and not the kind of place that draws visitors, especially after dark. There was no obvious reason for anyone to be out there. What made things even more unsettling was how these 2 men were behaving. Rather than passing through or keeping their distance, they seemed to linger, slowly drifting closer to the campsite over time. For nearly 30 minutes, the couple watched them circle the area, until eventually, the truck parked just 50 feet from their vehicle. Things escalated further when Brighton shone a light in their direction. The truck suddenly pulled away without a word, a reaction that only deepened the suspicion. Brighton turned the situation over in his mind, trying to work out what these men could possibly want, but nothing about it felt innocent or straightforward. The uncertainty kept them on edge, watching every shadow around them carefully. Then, just when they thought it was over, the truck came back.
It's going towards us now, so we're gonna get in the Jeep.
Yeah, they turned back around. They're coming this way. They're coming up around us, like on the other side.
Once we got in the Jeep, we waited for them to come. I wanted to be in my car just in case they came back, so if we needed to, we could leave. But once they saw my car was on and that we were inside, they turned around and left. We sat there for a while and decided to go back to camp and pack up to leave. Don't feel very good about this. He keeps trying to circle us.
They flipped around.
Like he's coming at us all angles.
We got back to camp. We were just packing up to leave, and we heard a car door shut, and then a little while later, I'm sure I heard footsteps outside of our camp a ways. But it sounded like these guys are trying to sneak up to our camp with their lights off. So it's right here. This guy's sneaking up on us now with their lights off. Like, this is not normal, so we're gonna right here. We're not gonna be filming as much. We're just gonna be safe and get out of here. But then we heard him turn around and get back in their truck, coming back and forth, turn your lights off. I've spent hundreds of nights outside, and like I'm totally fine camping next to people. Heck, like I lived in a van and was constantly around people, constantly in campsites and stuff. When people act like that, it's best to just leave. We just don't know what they're up to. We might go there tomorrow. That way we can get out of here fast.
Okay, I don't know if you can see, but they're driving right over to us again. Luckily, Brighton has a pistol, packing our stuff out, and now they're watching us. They can tell us that we're here because our lights are on. There's a Jeep. Oh, they're coming towards us, Brighton. What? They're coming towards us.
You guys need help or something?
No, we were just wondering what the light was.
Yeah, we just lost.
Yeah, we're just camping.
Oh, okay.
We went back to camp and packed up and left. A lot of you guys might think this is ridiculous that we just left, but after they left our camp, they went around the corner where we couldn't see them, and then they turned their lights off again. If they really just wanted to see what the lights were, then why did they speed off the first time? Why were they trying to sneak up on us? And who knows, maybe these guys were completely harmless.
Moments later, Brighton and his partner gathered their belongings and cleared out of the area without a second thought. They weren't about to stick around long enough to find out what those men were really after, because by that point, it was obvious this was no random run-in. Every move those men made felt purposeful and deliberate, in a way that set off every warning signal imaginable. For nearly half an hour, the 2 men had hovered around the campsite, appearing and vanishing in the darkness as though they were slowly circling their target. If they had simply been fellow campers, their behavior would have made perfect sense. But they never acted like it. No fire, no gear, no attempt to acknowledge Brighton and his partner. Just quiet observation from the shadows. Then came the first glaring red flag. When they crept closer and Brighton flashed his light toward them, they took off immediately. No words, no backward glance, just an instant retreat, as though being spotted had disrupted whatever they were planning. Anyone with innocent intentions would have simply spoken up. Instead, they ran. Then they came back, and this time it was even more alarming. Their headlights and flashlights were switched off as they sat silently near the campsite, watching from the darkness. And then a third return made everything feel truly disturbing. They offered up an excuse, claiming they had just been curious about the light, but by that point, it didn't hold up. They had already been watching the campsite multiple times. They knew people were there. They already knew exactly what the light was. That explanation felt hollow, like something thrown out only to put the couple off guard. From that moment, the pattern was impossible to dismiss. A person with nothing to hide would approach, say something, or at minimum acknowledge another person's presence out in a remote area. These men did none of that. Instead, they watched from a distance, pulled back when spotted, and returned again under the cover of darkness. Behavior that felt less like curiosity and more like surveillance. Like they had identified a target and were quietly studying it, gauging movements, testing reactions, and assessing whether Brighton and his partner were alert or vulnerable. In an environment like that, deep wilderness, freezing temperatures, those conditions turned dangerous fast. The way these men conducted themselves was a near-perfect mirror of a predator stalking its prey. They made a deliberate choice not to approach openly at first, knowing full well that walking up directly would alert the couple and give them time to pack up or prepare a defense. By keeping their distance and staying silent, the men were attempting to erode the couple's sense of caution. In remote, desolate places, the most terrifying thing you can encounter isn't a wild animal. It's a human being with malicious intent. Isolated forests are a hunting ground for those with violent and predatory instincts. The dense trees and vast emptiness offer perfect cover for unspeakable acts, allowing these kinds of individuals to operate freely, cross every line, and carry out horrific violence with little fear of being caught. Had Brighton not been carrying a firearm, and had the couple hesitated even a few minutes longer before leaving, the outcome could have been devastating. These men were hunting for an easy target. Without a means of self-defense, Brighton and his partner would have been completely exposed to whatever those dangerous individuals had in mind. The numbers alone could have allowed them to overpower the couple, leading to an assault, brutal violence, or something far worse. The freezing cold and the deep forest would have buried the evidence. By listening to their instincts and getting out of there immediately, Brighton and his partner very likely saved their own lives, successfully avoiding the fate of becoming just another haunting entry in a true crime story. In this clip from the Camping with Champion channel, Todd set out on what he hoped would be his boldest stealth camping adventure yet. What he had no way of anticipating was that the same night would also deliver his most unsettling experience.
Back to the channel. My name is Todd Champion. This is Camping with Champion, and tonight I'm going to be camping under this tree on the side of the highway. So there's these two trees with a small opening underneath them, and I'm pretty sure I can climb under there and spend the night. I'm currently on my little scooter making my way there right now. I am very close to the spot. What I think I'm going to do is pull up to the spot, take my bags off, and stuff them under the trees, and then I'm going to leave. It is so busy out here, there's no way that absolutely no one's going to see me for a few seconds. I'm just hoping no one cares enough. There's not a lot of room in here. This is gonna be a pretty tight fit in here tonight. I got all my stuff hidden in here, just kind of stuck there. This is my area. It is not very big. I have one clear path here that leads to the outside, and then where I'm sitting at.
Once his camp was established, he hopped on his scooter and rode out to revisit a spot where he'd spent the night on a previous trip. Up to that point, the whole stealth camping challenge had felt like pure fun. What he found waiting for him there would be the beginning of a series of deeply strange events.
I'll be home for the night. Let's go ride the scooter around for a little bit. Y'all, guess where I'm at? So I'm at that place where I slept in a hammock behind the shopping plaza that had the dumpster that had all the snack cakes and stuff in it. I rode my scooter over here and I'm gonna go check it. Oh, somebody's coming. I was gonna go check that dumpster right now, but there was a guy walking up and I just started talking to him, and he just started telling me about how he was in witness protection because someone murdered his friends, and his friend died right in his arms and stuff. And I don't know, it could be true. Who am I to judge? But I'm gonna let him leave, and I think I'll just come back up here later tonight and check the dumpsters. I wanted to check them now, that way if there was anything good in there, maybe I could get it out before someone else. I've actually checked the dumpsters a few times since that one video I made, but there hasn't been anything in there in like a month or however long it's been. I'm thinking someone found my spot. We're gonna head back to our camp spot for the night. We'll come back here later if I don't forget. Time to sneak in our hole for the night. I've got my headlight off on the scooter. I'm just gonna pull up, put the handlebars down, and then crawl in and then pull the scooter in behind me.
After returning to his campsite to continue setting up, Todd waited for nightfall and for foot traffic to die down. Once the coast was clear, he left camp to go dumpster diving. There, he would have his second encounter with the strange man.
I'm pretty hungry already. Tonight I brought stuff to make a Philly cheesesteak type of sandwich. But before I cook, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get the scooter and ride back up to the dumpster and check it and see if there's anything in there. Then when we get back, we will cook. Dang it. Empty. You win some, you lose some. I haven't found anything in this one in a while. I don't know what's going on. Did I just get super lucky the first few times? I don't know. We'll keep checking though. I know I have another spot close to a Dollar General, and I'm gonna do that one soon, and hopefully we'll find some stuff. That guy's back again. He just said, hey, standing over there. I was just trying to get some cool scooter footage.
You need no person can't wait, you need.
Nah, I'm good, bro. There's the cops. See if they pull me over for being on this thing. He offered to film me, but I politely declined. He also asked if I wanted anyone else to camp with me tonight. Like, what?
Thoroughly unsettled, Todd returned to his campsite ready to eat and settle in for the night. However, he couldn't shake the feeling he was being watched.
What the crap? That was nuts. This just went from like, you know, not too risky of a stealth camp in my opinion, because these cars are not going to see me, I don't feel like. But someone on foot could easily find me, and he knows that I'm probably in the area because he's seen me twice now. I don't think he would expect me to be in these bushes though. In case y'all are wondering how he knew I was camping, the first time I saw him when I was at the dumpsters, he asked me if I lived around there, and I said no, I'm camping nearby and I just came to check out the dumpsters. So that's how he knew I was camping. Oh my gosh, I'm scared to cook now. I'm scared he's gonna come walking by and smell it. Oh my God, he really thought I was gonna invite him back to hang out? Like, what?
Even with the red flags piling up, Todd wasn't willing to call it quits just yet. He pulled out his camping stove to get dinner going, but illuminating his workspace meant making one very risky call.
Cook. I'm gonna get my little table out so I can set my stove on it. I'm only gonna turn the light on just to show you the progress, because I don't really want to have my light on too much. So once I get it started cooking, I'll bring you guys back. I turned my red light on just so you can see a little bit. I've got it pointed down at the ground sheet, so it's just barely.
That call would end up costing him not long after he finished eating. The light source drew in someone he definitely didn't want around. The only thing separating Todd from this unknown individual was a small pocket knife.
You hungry?
No.
I got a sandwich here.
I was just walking around until daylight.
Really?
I've died 5 times in my life. shot, I've been stabbed, I've been hanged 3 times. I mean, each time they hang me to where I'm about dead and I got to roll. I don't know what made me walk down this way.
Got any kids or anything?
I got 4 kids.
How old?
Twin boys, 13, 2 girls, 16 and 15.
I got 2 boys.
Well, don't miss the little things in life. Just them growing up, man.
Yeah.
I miss mine.
I used to be a truck driver and I quit because my kids were little. Trying to do this, maybe I can do something better, you know.
Is there someone with you to help you do it?
My wife. I've been married for 15 years. Before I met my wife, dude, I was bad. And I probably wouldn't still be around if I hadn't met my wife. That way. Or if they call. Good meeting you, brother. See you.
Thankfully, the whole thing resolved without anyone getting hurt. Still, Todd made the smart move and broke camp, clearing out before the situation could escalate. The man was still lingering in the area, and it seemed like only a matter of time before he'd circle back.
So he just left. I'm packing up my stuff and I'm getting out of here. We talked for a while. He seems like a good guy, but there's no way I'm staying here now. No way. I'll check back in once I get packed up. He came back again while I was packing up. Just showed me some little rechargeable fan thing he had. It was really small. It's kind of neat. But I can see him walking down the highway now. I'm getting out of here. We'll talk more once I get somewhere I feel safe. Well, I got all my stuff packed up, got out of there. The last thing I packed up was my knife. The whole time we were talking, I had my knife out in my hand just in case. The guy just came in my bush and started sitting down. He saw my stove flame. That was, I shouldn't have, oh my gosh, I knew it. I really didn't think he'd walk this far down. He kept saying, I don't know why I walked down this way. I never walked down this way. I recorded some of the conversation. I don't know what or how much I'm gonna post. A lot of the stuff he was saying would get me restricted on YouTube. He seemed like a good guy. He said he's a veteran of the Iraq War. He just had a lot of, problems like we all do. I felt really bad for him. I tried to give him some food. He didn't want it. He had water with him. Like, we talked for a while, but I made sure, like, I never threatened him or anything like that, but I'm sure he noticed the knife in my hand, like, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to instigate anything or scare him or anything like that. Just trying to say, hey, don't try anything, you know what I mean? He seemed like a great guy, honestly, but there's just no way I'm staying there now. No way, I can't. I thought about trying to find another spot just to sleep somewhere tonight, but I'm just gonna call it quits on this one, y'all.
Although Todd walked away unscathed and even found himself feeling some compassion for the man who claimed to be a veteran, there were too many warning signs to brush aside. After the video went up, his viewers rallied behind his choice to leave and praised the way he'd kept his cool. One commenter laid it out plainly, saying they were convinced the stranger had been planning to return later and rob Todd while he slept, that he'd clocked the electric scooter and the camera equipment and gone scouting to pinpoint exactly where Todd was bedded down, that the guy clearly had a substance problem and was eyeing Todd's gear to fund it, and that leaving was absolutely the right move. Because when you're out there alone, at the mercy of the wilderness, and whoever happens to wander through, sometimes the only protection you have is trusting your own instincts. On a family vacation in Santiago, Chile, the group made their way to a beach luau in Vina del Mar. Right in the middle of the festivities, something strange caught everyone's eye up above.
Uy, sí, qué raro, Mira, la cagó. Mira las luces que van. Grábenlo, niños.
Mira.
Una estrella fugaz, no. Vale, estaba. Era como una nube.
Mi teléfono lo sigue mostrando. Mi teléfono.
A pair of luminous objects drifted slowly and silently across the sky. The crowd was immediately captivated, yet nobody present could make sense of what they were looking at. Even with perfectly clear conditions and how strikingly odd the lights appeared, neither local aviation nor space agencies ever stepped forward with any kind of explanation. To this day, what that family and those beachgoers witnessed that night has never been solved. Brendan is the man behind the well-known YouTube channel Brendan Explores, a creator famous for his solo van life journeys across the UK, seeking out off-the-beaten-track locations for stealth camping in his converted vehicle. His content usually features stunning, peaceful scenery and the quiet freedom of life on the road. Jaywick, a coastal village situated close to Clacton-on-Sea, has repeatedly appeared in government assessments as one of the most economically deprived communities in England.
It's safe to say that what you're about to watch is probably the hardest and not very...
In spite of its charming seaside setting, the area has long battled socioeconomic hardship, earning itself a reputation as a place that can be pretty rough. In what begins as a fairly typical outing, Brendan rolls into Jaywick in search of somewhere to bed down for the night, eventually pulling into a small car park that looks like an ideal quiet spot.
For a night in Jaywick, to hopefully have a van that's still intact in the morning as opposed to staying at the other place.
That sense of calm doesn't last long though, as thumping music starts blaring out from nearby flats and shatters the silence. As the night goes on, Brendan's gut feeling about the place grows increasingly uneasy. Eventually,
If you see someone walking down the road with a Halford special going past as well, playing music out of a portable speaker, alone,
he makes up his mind to move on and find somewhere else.
if I feel this car park or not. I'm going to follow my gut instinct. I'm not parking here tonight.
After scouting around for a while, he comes across an isolated patch on the outskirts of farmland, well away from any street lighting or the noise of residential streets.
This'll do me. I'm alone, but...
Then, at around 2:30 in the morning, something deeply unsettling unfolds.
Alrighty. Oh, nice and quiet here. Not even a sound of a distant car. I think someone's outside the back. Someone just tried the door. Hey!
Thinking fast, Brendan shouts out and manages to send the would-be thief fleeing into the darkness just as suddenly as they had shown up.
Whoever the that was has now gone.
Rattled by the whole experience and now dealing with a smashed window in the middle of the night, Brendan chooses to cut the trip short entirely. The incident takes a serious toll on him, and he ends up driving 3.5 hours home in the biting cold, wind pouring through the broken window the whole way.
A little bit of broken glass from my driver's seat and the dashboard. You'd be surprised how far glass goes. I made the long journey back home. I think it was a good 3.5 hour drive back to my house in Shrewsbury. Got there just before.
Brendan's run-in with trouble in Jaywick has got his audience talking about the very real safety risks that come with solo travel and stealth camping. While his channel is largely a celebration of the hidden, tranquil corners of the UK, this particular episode has without question become a warning story within his catalog, reminding viewers that no matter how remote or scenic the setting, staying alert is absolutely essential.
Someone just tried the door. Hey!
Deep in Devon Woods, where a century-old metal bridge marks the spot the road finally surrenders, paranormal investigator Lomar drove until he couldn't drive any further, then continued on foot. He made camp at the furthest reachable point and almost immediately noticed something unsettling. A row of trees nearby had been wrenched clean from the earth, roots and all, with no evidence of any storm or high winds to account for it.
Bunch of trees just... They look like they're ripped. Like they actually look like they're ripped out of the ground.
That's when things take a turn. A bizarre whooping cry rang out across the mountainside, unmistakably not an owl, and it kept shifting position, as though whatever was producing the sound was intentionally moving between spots as it called out. We have a
Woo! 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 That was a whoop. That was a whoop, I swear. I hear it. What the hell? Please tell me you guys heard that, or at least a little bit. Woo! Woo! What the hell was that? That was 100% not an owl. That was not an owl. It sounded like an owl-like hoot, but it was more like a whoop from a bigger thing, because it echoed across the mountain. And then it like moved. I could hear it legit moving places while it was kind of doing that.
Later on, when he went to check the back of his vehicle, he discovered something that stopped him cold. A huge handprint pressed into the dust on the trunk, far too large, and the fingers far too elongated to belong to any person. What is happening out here? Then...
What's going on? We just have all of a sudden this alien hand going on here? There's no way. Dude, look at this. Holy shit. There's no way, guys. Look at this. There's no way. Dude, that's huge. What the fuck? It's gotta be like a second hand, but a little bit. What is going on? I am actually freaking out right now. What the f? Oh, there's another one. No way, dude. What the? Oh man, I'm shivering right now. I'm actually terrified. You've got to be fucking kidding me right now. Guys, I have no idea what the fuck this is. I think we just got visited by at least one Bigfoot right now. Look at this. That's insane. And it's like long. It's more long than it is like a palm. Like, you know how I have width in my hand? It's like long. It doesn't have width. And then this one. How do I even? Kia, where are you? Kia? Kia, come for a treat. Come on, babe. Come here. We got something in the area. Come on, honey. Over here. Come on, look. I got something. Oh my God. Tripping out right now. Good girl. Good girl. There you go. That's actually like freaking me out right now. I didn't even...
Alone at the campsite with only his donkey for company, motion alarms he placed around the perimeter began triggering on and off at random, and whatever was setting them off was close enough to activate the front of his car. Who's out there?
Oh shit. No way. Oh fucking heck. Oh. Kia, what the fuck? No fucking way. Come on. Come on. What the fuck? Why can't I open this? Like, come on. Oh shit. I need the night vision. I need the night vision. What the fuck? Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay. No way. Hello? What the fuck? What the fuck? What was that? I'm shaking. My alarms were just signaled. What the f? That means something went right in front of the hood.
He headed outside to look around and described the feeling of something deliberately playing with him, making sounds, then going completely silent the instant it detected he was paying attention.
It's playing with me right now because it makes noises and then it stops when it knows I hear it. Whatever is outside of my tent right now is intelligent. It's doing things that intelligent beings would do. As soon as I hear it, it stops. It knows that I hear it. Like legit. And then it stops. Okay.
He led Kia down the darkened trail to investigate, and a whooping call rang out again in response, nearer than before, followed by a shriek and a howl. On March 13th, 2024, the YouTube channel Topcat AK documented what appeared to be a routine winter crossing in Denali, Alaska. The channel is dedicated to snowmobile adventures through some of the most isolated terrain on Earth. That day, the group was making their way across the Talkeetna River, testing the ice as they went, staying alert. Then a single moment changed the entire situation. They had been moving across the frozen surface the same way they had done before, measured and cautious, with nothing ahead to suggest any immediate threat. Then, one member of the group stepped onto a patch that gave no warning whatsoever. The ice gave way in an instant, and just like that, he vanished under the surface.
Oh, shit! Daniel, need help down here. Daniel! You all good? Fuck, he's underneath it. Hold on, buddy. I can't get it up. I need some help!
Up above, the rest of the group held their position on solid ground. Underneath, he was being swept through near-freezing water, trapped below a solid sheet of ice, with no obvious way out. That frozen layer overhead became the single greatest obstacle standing between him and the people desperately trying to get to him. They didn't hesitate.
Jaden, run around by him. Move my helmet off.
I don't know, I don't want to let go.
Just grab him. Grab his arm and he's... 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Grab his other arm.
Good, grab him. Come on, guys.
They repositioned, deployed ropes, and attempted to coordinate their efforts, but the ice beneath them kept fracturing with every movement, buckling under the shifting load. Through careful maneuvering, they finally managed to establish contact. It wasn't clean or controlled, but it was enough. From that point, they battled both the current pulling from below and the deteriorating ice, threatening to give way underfoot. Inch by inch, he hauled himself back up to the surface. The moment his full weight reached something stable, the worst of it was over.
2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Don't let it go backwards, boys. Pull forward. Hold on. All right, 1, 2, 3.
The snowmobile was pulled out shortly afterward, but even once the ordeal had ended, the ice kept groaning and splitting beneath them. A subtle but unsettling reminder that the river had never really been on their side. These crossings can unravel in the span of a heartbeat, and more often than not, there is no second opportunity once things go sideways. So what do you think made the real difference here? Fast instincts, the team around him, or something harder to explain? In December 2024, solo female van lifer Wandering Gypsy thought she'd stumbled onto the ideal setup: free camping on BLM land out in southern Utah. Not a soul in sight, so she did what she always does: walked the area, scanned for wildlife, and made sure nothing seemed off. It all checked out, then a red truck showed up at the far end of the dirt road. It didn't keep moving, it just stopped there, idling, watching her. She quietly set her phone on the dashboard and hit record. She positioned herself beside her Jeep, staying close to her means of protection. The truck held its ground. When it eventually pulled off, the driver's window was down, and he had his eyes locked directly on her the entire time he rolled past. she had no choice but to pack up and go. A perfect campsite gone because she couldn't stop asking herself one question. What if he decided to come back after dark? Joseph is a West Virginia native from the northern part of the state who spent most of his life chasing fish wherever he can find them. From quiet backwoods ponds to winding creeks to road trips out to unfamiliar waters, he lives for getting out there and bringing his audience along for the ride. But on this particular outing at Lake Cray, things went in a direction nobody was expecting. It all kicked off like a pretty standard fishing trip. Joseph and his friend Rick squeezed their canoe out from between their two trucks and pushed off for what was meant to be a laid-back first run on the water. The afternoon's haul wasn't exactly something to brag about. They kept reeling in what Joseph calls dingsters, these stunted little bass that never seem to grow properly in an overstocked pond. But anyone who spent time outdoors knows that once the sun goes down, that's when things tend to get interesting. As darkness fell, Joseph decided to stick around and try his hand at some nighttime catfishing while Rick packed up and headed out. He got his brand new Bushnell pop-up tent set up, feeling pretty good about it, but at 2 in the morning, everything changed.
I just woke up. I heard something like a weird noise. What the hell is it? There's something out there. There's what the yeah, that sounds like a bear, like for real. Oh shit. I think it stopped, man. It like pushed my whole tent in right here. I'm about to go look. I'm gonna wait a little bit. I thought I heard it kind of run away. I don't know how to.
Once he finally works up the nerve to peek outside, the bear has disappeared, or at least it's nowhere he can spot it. Joseph wastes no time throwing together the largest fire he can build, counting on the light and heat to discourage the animal from circling back. So honestly, what's your read on this? Was it just a curious black bear poking around a campsite, or was something more predatory going on with a potential food source nearby? Black bears are no strangers to West Virginia, and they can turn dangerous fast, particularly when they start connecting human camps with an easy meal. All things considered, Joseph kept his head. He stayed composed, reached for protection, and made the sensible calls about stoking the fire and possibly retreating to his truck. The clip wraps up with Joseph still uneasy, torn between sticking it out in the tent or calling it and sleeping in the cab. Because when you're out there alone in bear country, sometimes the wisest thing you can do is know when to quit. Meet Jimmy, the man behind By the Curve, a channel dedicated to his van life journey and the open road lifestyle he's built for himself. For 2 solid years, he'd traveled without experiencing anything that truly scared him. Then one night shattered that streak. He pulled into a quiet, tucked-away lane in Sunderland, convinced he'd stumbled onto the ideal place to rest for the evening. After burning the midnight oil doing research for an upcoming video, he eventually fell asleep, fully expecting the same calm night he'd grown used to, with no idea what was coming.
Last night I've come to Sunderland because I'm doing a vlog. My next vlog's going to be about Sunderland. And I found a good place to park up. In fact, what I think is a cracking place, which is out in sticks a little bit. There's not much going on, and I'm on this lane. I was up late doing all my research for my Sunderland video, and I'm thinking, I need to get some sleep or something.
He had absolutely no clue that his rest was about to be torn apart in the most jarring way possible. Without warning, a thunderous bang erupted directly above where his head lay, yanking him out of a deep sleep in an instant. The jolt was so severe that for a brief, disorienting moment, he had no idea where he was. Heart hammering, his gut told him to pull the blind aside, and what greeted him was the stuff of nightmares, a face pressed right up against the glass. That image burned itself into his mind, sending a wave of goosebumps crawling across the back of his neck.
Sleep. Next thing, banging above my head. And you know when something completely... You know what it's like when you're fast asleep and something jolts you so much, you don't know what planet you're on. It's like my soul left my body, that my heart. So I get so up, I'm like, what's that? Who's that? What's going on? I didn't know where I was. And I pulled blind down. That was my first reaction. And there's a bloody face at the window. The most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me. Face up at my window.
The disturbance didn't let up. More yelling, more pounding. The fear made it nearly impossible to make out the words. Running on pure instinct, Jimmy reached for his phone, hoping to capture whatever was unfolding as evidence. The man eventually backed off, only to come back and start scrawling something on the window, which made the whole thing feel even more deeply unsettling.
Some banging. I couldn't make out what he was saying because I were all a bit, we're all a bit hazy. And you know when people say, oh, last thing you think of is getting your camera. Well, I thought of getting my bloody camera this time. I thought I'm getting this. Worst case, it's like evidence, or I can put it in a video, can't I? Because at the end of the day, that's what I do. I'm a YouTuber, I film everything. I'd only got my phone though, so that's where I got it on. Anyway, he's walked away, and I'm thinking, right, it's just some random nutter. And then he's come back and started writing on window. I've still not been out and seen what he's wrote on window. He's banged again, and my instinct was to bang back. I don't know why. Anyway, so that's it. It's all happened.
The dread only grew as the stranger's shouting took on a more threatening edge, with hints of mental instability woven into his words, leaving Jimmy desperately trying to figure out just how much danger he was actually in.
I was peeking at him through a window, and he sounded very threatening, going on about mental health issues and being in the head and all stuff like that.
The man finally disappeared, but Jimmy was far too rattled to even think about going back to sleep. After 2 years on the road, this was the first moment that had genuinely frightened him. A brutal reminder of how quickly solo travel can turn unpredictable. Despite his determination to keep going, he acknowledged that he'd need to rethink his approach, particularly when it came to parking in a position that would allow him to get out fast if he ever needed to.
But that's the first time in 2 years. That is the first time anything remotely like that has happened. And I'm in the middle of nowhere, like near a farm. Well, you'll see, I don't know if it'll get on this vlog or whatever, you'll see where I am. I'm still not going to be negative about van life or all like that. As I said, it's first time in 2 years this has happened. But I think you should just take a little bit of precautions, like even just little things like thinking about what way you parked so you can get away quick. But I wouldn't have been able to get away that quick because all windows steamed up in it, you know, with condensation. Anyway.
The whole ordeal had clearly taken something out of him, and he found himself genuinely worried about the toll the shock had taken on his body.
I'm only just coming around after that shock. And that's the worrying thing. A man in my condition, a man of my age, that could have been like, you know, when your heart's pounding. Could have given me an heart attack. Seriously, it could have.
Van life carries an undeniable sense of freedom, but nights like this expose just how vulnerable that lifestyle can leave you. The threat may have passed, but what that stranger actually wanted remains a mystery. A chilling example of how unpredictable a random encounter can be. Jimmy made it out without a scratch, but that night isn't the kind of thing you simply shake off and forget. The Turkish YouTube channel Ramble Soul is hosted by a couple who document cozy, visually rich camping trips through rural landscapes. Their videos usually carry a relaxed, peaceful tone, but this particular episode took a dramatic turn. What was meant to be another tranquil night beside a lake became one of the most frightening ordeals they've ever filmed. They'd just pulled up to a gorgeous, secluded lakeside location, a spot they'd returned to before for its great fishing, open fire cooking, and peaceful atmosphere. The weather was looking favorable, and they were eager to break in a brand new inflatable tent they'd never used before. Everything pointed toward a perfect evening out in nature, but as daylight faded, the wind suddenly surged, and it surged fast. They weren't too concerned at first, figuring it would settle the way spring breezes usually do, but it never let up. If anything, it intensified. They kicked into gear, locking down their equipment, and retreating into the tent to wait it out overnight. Then morning came, and that's when things fell apart.
O ne ya?
Ya! Oh! Saçmalama! Dur!
Al şunu al. Var içeride.
Oh!
Sarhoş yandım. Şu arabanın anahtarı.
Ya patlar mı onlar?
Patlayacak bir şey yok. Çok yaklaşma. Tüpler patlayabilir. Sarhoş bir su getirsene şeyden.
Şurada.
Ha orada olur. Patlamaz ya. Patlamaz. Şunu da al. Ver onu bana ver.
Of ya.
Ah. Ah.
Canım.
Ha?
Nasıl yapacağız bunu?
Ver ben dökerim. Dur şunu koyayım.
Of ya.
Ah.
Aman.
Of ya. Ah. Hoş. Bir tane daha.
Of. Of ya.
Ta bagajın altında.
Right in the middle of breakfast, with absolutely no warning, the tent ignited. This wasn't old or worn equipment, it was brand new, oversized, and reinforced. Yet it went up in flames regardless. The apparent culprit was an inverter unit connected to their power setup, which appeared to have either overheated or short-circuited, setting the edge of the tent fabric alight. The synthetic material gave the fire exactly what it needed, and within moments, the flames had traveled across the entire structure. Panic hit immediately. They scrambled for the fire extinguisher, but the pressurized interior caused the tent to buckle and fold in on itself. There was no room for deliberation, just pure instinct. By some stroke of luck, neither of them was still inside when it started, but had they been even a few minutes behind, the outcome could have been devastating. They threw everything at the fire: water, the extinguisher, handfuls of sand. But the tent was already beyond saving. When the smoke cleared, they were left standing in stunned silence. The pair, who are usually warm and upbeat on screen, were clearly in shock. She broke down in tears, not just grieving the lost gear, but processing the full weight of what nearly happened. He did his best to hold it together and console her, though the tremor in his voice gave away just how shaken he was too. Even so, they chose to close out the video on a note of genuine thankfulness, because the alternative outcome was almost unthinkable. That tent had been used exactly once, and it would never be used again. The one thing that truly mattered, though, was that both of them walked away without a scratch. Posted on July 27th, 2025, by Dan Ventures Outdoors, this solo overnight stay in the Yorkshire woodland started out as a relaxed escape, but took an unexpectedly unsettling turn along the way. Dan has pitched up in a forested spot near Keighley known as Worth Woods, a cozy little campsite you can reserve through Facebook for only £5. It's privately run, well looked after, and draws in the kind of crowd that simply wants to get out into nature.
Someone else is going to be camping there. Got a little bin. Hainworth Woods, this is called. It's near Keighley. Yeah, it's quite a nice little spot. I'll put the link to his Facebook channel down below, his Facebook page, and you can check it out if you want. It's only a £5, but safe and secure. You bring young'uns with you and that, and just stay with some like-minded people, basically. Better camping, so yeah, I thought I'd bring you along and show you my first video camping, because from now, it's just been, up until now, should I say, it's just been reviews, and I haven't actually got out camping and show you what I do and get up to when I'm camping. That's the tent someone set up. Close now because of the fire. Time to get my chair out and get a beer. Get some food.
The tent is up in minutes, the camp chair gets unfolded, and the first cold one is popped open before long. A handful of chicken skewers go on the grill, taking their time over the hot coals. The sun dips behind the tree line and washes the whole site in warm, golden tones. And just for a moment, everything feels exactly right, unhurried, stripped back, and genuinely peaceful. Then, as darkness starts to creep in, the mood changes ever so slightly. Dan mentions almost in passing that 3 guys and a large dog had shown up a little earlier. They wandered through the campsite, got a fire going close to his spot, had a play around on a nearby swing, and then disappeared. Nothing outwardly hostile or threatening, but something about their vibe felt a bit off. They'd asked Dan whether he and his son were planning to spend the night, an innocent enough question on the surface, but one that kept nagging at him. Maybe it was the timing of it, maybe it was something in the tone, or maybe it simply came down to the fact that he was out there in the middle of the woods with his kid and hadn't bargained on any visitors showing up unannounced.
Right, it's a bit strange. Didn't want to film it. Couple of lads, 3 lads, came up from down this way with a big dog. It's at camp there. They've set a big fire here and gone up left up there. But they seem quite like nice lads, like they're messing about on swing, and yeah, just a bit weird, isn't it? Asking as if we're staying at night and stuff. I don't know if it's me just overthinking it, but back now. I don't know.
Once they'd gone, Dan settled back in by the fire and tried to put the whole thing out of his head. He's the first to admit he could be reading too much into it. They seemed perfectly fine, all things considered. Even so, the way they appeared and then vanished without much explanation left a faint sense of unease hanging over the campsite. The temperature falls off sharply, and Dan throws on his jacket and plants himself beside the flames. He keeps an eye on the tree line and listens carefully for any hint that the 3 of them might circle back, but the woods hold their silence. Later in the evening, he does one final check before turning in for the night. If anything stirs, he'll switch the camera back on, but it's looking like the rest of the night will be uneventful.
Fire's keeping us warm, right? Yeah, so I'm just out here chilling, enjoying the fire, enjoying the peace, away from the big city life, like. Just sit here. Pitch black now. Pitch black. It's a lot darker on camera than it is in real life. Yeah. They ain't being back anyway. Thank God for that. Hopefully they don't come back. Don't know, it was just a bit weird, wasn't it? He's staying overnight. Of course, mate, I'm camping. Got my tent pitched. I mean, probably not bad lads, like, but just me overthinking it, I think. Should be fine. If anything else happens tonight or they come back, I'll keep you updated. If not, I'll see you in the morning.
And sure enough, it is. When morning arrives, Dan sounds equal parts relieved and mildly surprised. The group never came back. He rounds out the video on a fairly upbeat note. It was a good trip, more or less, but those 3 strangers haven't quite faded from his thoughts. Not exactly a mystery, just one of those odd little encounters that lodges itself somewhere in the back of your mind and refuses to fully let go. He came out here to camp on his own. The forest had something else in mind. The second video of the night is from Moxley's Paranormal World, a channel based in the UK where a guy known as Mox spends his nights in haunted forests and derelict buildings, almost always by himself, almost always equipped with little more than a spirit box and a spectacular disregard for self-preservation. It's April 30th, 2026, Haunted Woodland, United Kingdom.
I'd say the grounds to this place have been shrouded in a lot of paranormal, from shadow figures seen, disembodied voices heard, walking when there's nobody else there, plus, and this is the one that's made me drop everything else, the sightings of UFOs dating all the way back to, I think he said, around about the 1960s. So it's going to be absolutely brilliant to get out there, and I'm going to camp overnight at this location to see if I can pick up any of the activity that these were capturing a couple of nights ago, plus what other people have been capturing. So there's been cryptids, UFOs, paranormal activity from shadow figures, disembodied voices like I've already said. So I'm just going to get my bag together. So the only thing I need to get into my bag, get the tent in, got my food and everything else, so it's coming at a really good time. So yeah.
The woods don't hold off until dark before things start going sideways. Mox is still unloading his equipment when he catches it. Heavy, two-footed steps moving through the undergrowth with clear intention. Then it breaks into a run, heading straight for him, weighty and deliberate. The kind of sound that reminds you that being alone and being vulnerable are essentially the same thing.
It sounded like somebody was speaking behind me. So I've just stopped for a minute, just to listen. Because there could be other people still out here, because it is only early. Right, after listening for a good 10 minutes, couldn't hear nobody. You know, that is what we literally just climbed over. The other side was really rough. Well, I'm just following the trail.
The last of the daylight fades. His tent isn't even halfway up when something shifts at the tree line. It's the wrong kind of movement, not a breeze, not an animal. Something with purpose behind it. A sound he can't quite categorize. And then the feeling hits him, sudden and undeniable. Out here, the sense of being watched isn't just a passing thought. It settles on you like something physical.
And to me right, look at here. I don't know, it was like a groaning noise. But it sounded like it was coming from a person. Like going, Okay. It's freaking odd, wasn't it? Should we put the spirit talker on whilst we're eating? Should we just give it a go? Can't hurt, can it? Getting a noise over there. Okay, is there somebody out here? If there is, would you like to step forward, come and speak to me here tonight? I'm here to communicate with you.
Ralph.
Ralph. Well, hello, Ralph. Ralph, is it you that people have seen out here?
Dusk has a bite to it. He's crouched over a steaming bowl of noodles, finally getting some warmth back when the groan cuts through the silence. It sounds human. It's close. Just feet from the tent entrance, rising out of the darkness around him. Not wildlife, not the elements. Something that draws breath and sighs and is standing right there, just outside the camp.
Over there. You might be able to see it every now and then. I could hear something, like talking. I'm just hoping the camera picks it up. Looks like they come this way and walked all the way around. They were on the other side of that water, and then they started walking this way, then they started walking down this way. So I just sat at the camp thinking fair enough. Then they got so close and then they started walking off. Then they keep walking back towards.
In the pitch black, the night wind picks up. Mox cuts his lights. Better to go dark than announce your position. The darkness answers him almost immediately. Footsteps grinding through fallen leaves, near enough that he can judge which direction they're coming from. Then voices. Faint, sourceless, carrying on some kind of exchange in the dark as though they're talking about him specifically. Most people would already be sprinting back to the car. Instead, Mox reaches for the spirit box. It comes back with a name, Ralph, and then, clear as anything, hello there. He laces up his boots, dials his torch down low, and heads further into the darkness between the trees to figure out who's doing the greeting. But honestly, that would, March 2025, the YouTube channel Sort of Interesting, headed out to set up a stealth bivvy camp along a riverbank, tucking himself into a well-hidden spot close to a popular walking trail. The evening couldn't have been better. Warm and calm, ideal for unwinding beside the water before bedding down for the night.
Is this little area here. Nice and open, a good amount of flat space, only a few little stones dotted around, but most importantly for somewhere that there's an unbelievable amount of people walking around. Even now, it's nicely sheltered, especially well hidden and camouflaged when you come down to waist height and below. Got a lot of good trees growing and a lot of downed wood. I'm going to leave a few items here from my bag just to lower the weight on my back, because even though I anticipate it going extremely chilly tonight, which is why I've currently got an extra layer for bedtime on, although I am going to wear all of this straight through till the morning, it's been a beautiful day and it's still really warm in the evening here. So carrying all that kit and wearing extra layers is definitely sweating a little bit more than I wanted to on the way down here. Anyway, I'm going to go and find somewhere beautiful on the riverside to have some...
The area turned out to be more lively than he'd anticipated, with dog walkers and locals out enjoying the last of the daylight, though his chosen spot remained nicely out of sight. He got a fire going with his spirit burner and cooked himself a meal by the river, soaking in the quiet as darkness slowly crept in.
Being within very close proximity. I don't think they've seen me, because why would they? Who would even look in here for someone? But I'm being very, very cautious. Okay, this camera angle's probably terrible, but there are so many people around here walking dogs and just enjoying the evening. This is slightly busier than I was expecting, and I was expecting it to be busy, so I've got to be absolutely on my game and stealthy and calm here. Oh, look at the sunlight coming in now. That is fantastic.
Later in the night, as he went to investigate some sounds coming from nearby, a dog walker suddenly materialized right behind him out of the dark. Startled, he instinctively headed in the opposite direction from his bivvy, leaving all of his sleeping kit completely unattended.
Okay, friends, there is definitely somebody about here. Yeah. So you might be able to see there is somebody walking towards us. I thought I'd go out and have a look at what was going on around in the main walking area, because there were a few torches going by and there'd been some noises and rustling in the woodland that I didn't think anybody would be in. So I thought I'll go out and just have a nose around. So you might have seen that little glimpse of lights that were heading towards me. As I was focused on them way across a field or two, I almost jumped out of my skin because a dog walker came down behind me. So in a bit of a panic to make sure they didn't think that I was milling around in that particular area, I had to immediately start walking in the exact opposite way of the bivvy. I've 100% been spotted. Right, I'm trying to keep calm and keeping calm. I'm almost too scared to breathe here. I think a dog or something just came in. I was half asleep when, with no prior torchlight, a lot of animal-like rustling broke out. Then suddenly in the darkness, a loud crack sound really woke me with a start. Oh, that's right, they're looking straight at me. I'm trying not to panic. Hello? Right, I'm just going to use the phone light now, and I'm just going. They haven't been about, I haven't seen a single light now for maybe 5-10 minutes. I don't even know. I've been just trying to keep as calm as possible, but when they walked off and the light went out, I don't even know which direction they were, but somewhere in that direction.
With no idea where the person had gone, or whether they were still lurking around, he made the call to gather his things and get out of there. The stranger never said a word. They simply killed their light and disappeared, and that alone was more than enough to convince him to abandon the camp entirely. Tommy and Rachel are a couple who left van life behind to chase something far stranger. Deep woods investigations in the Appalachian Mountains, where the trees have a habit of knocking back. Bedding down beside a wall of dense mountain laurel sounds questionable on paper. Out in the field, it turns out to be considerably worse than that. See for yourself what unfolded.
Right.
This is a natural little gap right here. It's
Right.
no name.
Right.
But this is a little gap. But I sat on a log right over there a while ago where a deer blowed. Something knocked on a tree down yonder. You heard birds scatter.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Something knocked
And
on
then
the tree?
Something heavy followed.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I want you to come right here.
Gotcha.
As it gets darker, this is how you hunt. So you get in before dark, you get yourself set up.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then just settle down, be quiet. And that's
what we've been pretty quiet over
Yeah.
here, talking a little bit, but not
yeah,
much.
that's all right. Well, you got birds talking.
Right.
Yeah.
But when them birds hush,
Uh-huh.
it's time to be quiet.
Right.
I'm proud to see y'all up there.
The investigation hasn't even gotten off the ground when the first incident is reported. Their local contact, Ronnie, had been sitting on a nearby log, waiting for things to get started. During that time, the birds cleared out all at once. A tree knock echoed through the area, and he was hit with a strong sense of something large pushing through the brush directly behind him. They haven't officially begun, and already someone's had an experience.
Crunching.
Deer.
Yep.
It ain't gonna hurt anything. Just sit here and be quiet for a second.
Something's down there.
The group is sitting quietly as daylight fades, Tommy mid-thought on wilderness safety, when he suddenly stops talking. Crunching sounds from the brush just downhill from their position, close enough to pinpoint, deliberate enough that every single person goes still at the same moment. Nobody makes a move until they've tried to work out the source. Then another sound drifts in from further out. Tommy picks up on it straight away. He can't categorize it, can't match it to anything this forest would normally produce. It's just off, the kind of off that shuts experienced people right up.
Kind of a moan.
Yep.
Way off.
Yep. There's something right in here. For real. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it had a heavy footstep. And
I just heard it.
I don't think a deer will be up here in the mountain laurel as thick as it is. I don't know. Anyway, I'm coming.
Ow.
I'm just gonna leave this in the video.
From somewhere in the pitch black directly behind the group, a groan rolls out. Deep, unnatural. Tommy and Ronnie both call it out simultaneously. Not wind, not a tree shifting under its own weight, something generating that sound on purpose, somewhere in the darkness behind them. On the walk back to the vehicle along an unlit trail, branches begin snapping close by. Rhythmic, heavy, Tommy flags it immediately. The mountain laurel in that area is so impossibly thick that nothing moving on four legs could push through it at that pace and that weight. Whatever it was moved on two legs, matching their speed the entire way out. Their batteries drained to under 10% on that same walk. Camera and headlamp failing together, they reach the vehicle. Tommy wraps up the night by saying the groans and the heavy movement confirmed exactly what they'd come out there looking for, and that they'll return with better gear next time. Personally, I'm not sure I would have lasted past that very first tree knock. During a calm morning at a cabin in Aspen, TikTok creator Aspen Meg spotted movement just beyond her front door and pulled out her phone to capture it. Crouched right outside was a mountain lion. For several seconds, it just sat there, composed and motionless, near enough that swinging that door open would have been a potentially fatal decision. Then, after scanning its surroundings, it gradually pushed itself up and padded off into the distance. That right there is what gives this footage its real weight. There is no need to manufacture tension, no paranormal angle, no shadowy shape lurking between the trees. This is an actual apex predator resting just beyond someone's front step. And in a mountain or wilderness setting, that kind of moment hits differently. The walls around you feel protective, but only because of the wood, the glass, and the deadbolt holding everything together. Step outside, and the wild does not care where your property line ends. The mountain lion never lunged. It never even appeared threatening in the video. Yet simply knowing it was there was enough to show viewers how fast a serene morning can shift into something terrifying. Because once the predator is parked outside your entrance, the cabin stops feeling like a sanctuary. It starts feeling like the only thing standing between you and the world that built it. In August 2025, a YouTuber known as D from D's Dark Adventure received an invitation from a farm's owners who were struggling to make sense of something deeply unsettling. Shadowy figures had been sprinting across their fields and disappearing into the woods, and disembodied voices had been drifting out of the cornfield after dark. According to the owners, it had all begun roughly 2 years prior when they first moved onto the property. But now that the corn had grown up tall, whatever was lurking out there had started edging closer to the house.
My other cornfield video, and she said it's not as violent because they've not made it this far, but this is the first year it's had corn. She's had issues with her dogs doing this. She can hear things running. She hears voices. But the previous years, it was just beans. And same thing, she could see figures. But now that the cornfield...
The second D approached the field, the farm dogs completely lost it, barking furiously and tearing at the ground, refusing to take another step forward. She pressed on alone, and almost right away the place started making itself known. Unearthly howls rang out from somewhere the dogs couldn't reach. The stalks began shifting with movement, and something dark appeared to be watching her from just beyond the rows of corn.
I'm hearing a howling. It's not those dogs. It's coming from that way. Those dogs can't go that far. They're on a restraint thing. Okay. Airplane. It is, but it's up high. Oh my God.
She called out into the darkness, announcing her presence and waiting for a response, but nothing came back except more rustling and more silhouettes sliding between the plants.
I have been invited by the homeowners and the property owners to be here, so please understand. What is that? Dear, what is that? I don't know what the hell I'm looking at right now, guys. What in the fuck? Dude, hi, hello. I don't want to blind them. To my left. Hello. They're looking at me from the side of the tree, dude. What is that chirping? Where'd they go? Yeah, okay, what is that? Hello, hi. My name is Dee, and I have been invited.
I don't know what that is, dude. Then she heard it, a voice saying hello back to her from somewhere in the field.
Hi. Hello? Hi. I just heard a hi.
Still, she pushed deeper, and the further in she got, the more unbearable it became. A large shape lay in the flattened corn ahead of her. The surrounding stalks trembled without any wind, and she was hearing sounds she had no frame of reference for.
Lying here. Something big. He's laying right there. I don't like it. Listen. No, don't listen. I can't. Eardropping. There's a lot of laid down and broken in the middle of this. I don't know if I can get you guys up high enough.
By the time it was over, she was barely keeping herself composed, turning to the camera to apologize and admitting she simply couldn't continue any further.
Block. I don't like that blackness like that. It's huge. Dude, screw that. I can't do this. I'm sorry, guys. I tried. I held out as long as I could. I couldn't even go in.
So what exactly was responding to her from within that cornfield? Who were the figures the owners had been watching cross their land? And why did every living thing on that property seem to already know something was there? Out on a hike through the woods, this woman stumbled across something that stopped her dead in her tracks.
Does this not look like a person who's literally climbing this tree? What is that? Like a nest? It looks like a shoe. I don't know. I'm not convinced that that's...
At first, it almost passes for a human figure gripping a tree branch, but the more you look at it, the more unsettling it becomes. There are those who think it's been perched up there so long that it's essentially fused with the tree over time. The paranormal community has weighed in, with some suggesting it could be a cryptid, an unknown creature blending seamlessly into its surroundings to avoid detection. On the other side, skeptics say it's nothing more than a strangely contorted branch playing tricks on the eyes. If you have any idea what this woman actually came across that day, drop your thoughts in the comments below. In a remote African campsite, just past 2 a.m, the stillness of the Kalahari was torn apart by a low, powerful rumble. A male lion had announced himself, and an hour later, he called out again, then again. Each time, the sound was closer than before. By the time that last roar rang out, there was no echo left to speak of. At around 6:15 in the morning, he was directly outside the tent. What the camera picks up is a massive male lion, not charging, not threatening, just curious. He moves toward the tent and starts working his teeth into the fabric. The people inside stay completely still, recording every second of it. To that lion, the tent isn't a structure or an obstacle. It's just another feature of the world around him, worth investigating. He eventually wanders off, but the dread that settles in doesn't go with him, because after something like that, you stop feeling like a visitor in the wilderness and start feeling like prey. The next jaw-dropping clip of the evening comes from Tyler Wood Camping, a YouTube channel dedicated to laid-back truck camping adventures, outdoor meals, and creative DIY camper builds. It's March 8th, 2022, and Tyler had set out for a relaxed overnight at Yellowbanks Campground to put some fresh modifications to his truck bed setup through their paces. He brought a friend along for the ride, and the plan was simple: good food, good company, and a peaceful night under the open sky. Nature, however, had a very different agenda.
Start with some flour. I know you guys probably are having a hard time hearing me. Flour, and add our milk in. All around.
abandoned. Come on, let's go. Come on. Come on, it's coming. Gotta leave the food behind. Come on, let's go.
South of Highway G24 and R57, very specific location.
Ooh, that was crazy.
In Norwalk, that is part of the apparent tornado path. So
Mid-dinner prep, with the camera rolling on what was supposed to be a low-key vlog moment, everything changes in an instant as emergency alerts start blaring. Tornado warnings escalate at an alarming rate, and with barely a moment to think, the two of them bolt for cover inside the truck, abandoning all their gear as powerful winds begin tearing through the area.
Oh man, his shelter's gone.
In Norwalk, several houses. We haven't gotten a sense of what that damage is yet. But one is going to start wondering if we're going to start seeing windows blown out.
Well, we just lost dinner. I was gonna make SOS for you guys, but yeah, this is crazy. That came out of nowhere.
The National Weather Service in Des Moines has issued a tornado warning for southeastern Lucas County.
That's right where we're at right now. We're in Des Moines.
Eastern Decatur County in south central Iowa. Northwestern Wayne County in south central Iowa. Southeastern Clark County in south central Iowa until 6 p.m. At 5:22 p.m., a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 13 miles northwest of Corden, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. This is a particularly dangerous situation. Take cover now. Expected hazards included a damaging tornado. Tornadic debris has been confirmed by radar. The following impacts are expected. You are in a life-threatening situation.
Whew. Okay, so that tornado just came right through. Totally took out Marvin's camp. Lifted the back of my truck up a little bit. It is super calm right now. Like I say, what, eye of the storm or whatever. That's crazy. Now we gotta try to salvage what's left of camp. Dinner tonight is no longer gonna be SOS. As you guys saw me making it. I mean, yeah, it got a little dark out, but all of a sudden that storm just came out of nowhere. I mean, those winds had to be, I don't even know, 50, 60 mile an hour winds. Super crazy. Everything's lost. As you can see, the whole campsite's just gone. We gotta start trying to find out exactly where everything is. There's 3 tornadoes on the ground. I mean, this is wild. There's our dinner sitting right there. We gotta pick up all this trash that we had accumulated on our campground. Storm or no storm, you know, pick up after yourself. All right, well, I'm gonna let you go. I gotta start trying to find everything, so. All right, love you, be safe.
Love you too, always.
Bye. Had to give a quick update to the wife, let her know we just kind of survived a tornado. This is wild. Whole campsite's gone, man. I mean, I can replace this, not, you know, the end of the world. I'm not gonna play with safety at first, but siren just going back off again. Like I said, there's 3 confirmed tornadoes on the ground. And to be honest, as crazy as that was, I still don't want to leave. I want to stay in and hunker down. This one's for you, Steve. This thing's melted down. I was going to show you guys earlier too. This is the hail that was coming down as well. It was a little bit bigger than this, not by much, maybe like half the size of a golf ball, but yeah, crazy. All right, so he's heading out, not to abandon camping tonight, but yeah, so here's what the tornado did. I think that was already there, that cut, but knocked all these branches up and over, flooded this whole area. We're just on our way to go up to Burger King, go get some food since our dinner is out spread all across the woods. And we got, I mean, look at this. Damage everywhere. Man,
gonna have to just drive right up over this. I don't think that's gonna be that big of a deal. Maybe I can move some of it. Yep, knock this all over. All right, this is gonna be interesting.
The good news is that both of them walked away without a scratch, though the same couldn't be said for some of their equipment. Several pieces were left behind and took a beating from the storm, but their fast instincts and level heads almost certainly saved them from a much worse outcome. This footage serves as a sobering reminder that while we spend so much time worrying about what might be hiding in the dark, ghosts, creatures, unknown figures, sometimes the most terrifying thing out there is nature itself. There is so much in this world we haven't come close to understanding. And sometimes the real threat isn't a monster in the shadows, but the raw, unstoppable power of the world around us. A man was settling in at his campsite when something outside broke the silence. He moved toward the entrance to check it out, only to be stopped cold by a deep, menacing growl just beyond the threshold. He took a step back. Fully alert now, the sound returned, steady and uncomfortably close.
Side.
Summoning his nerve, he looked out a second time, but there was nothing to see, just that growling getting louder with every passing second. He made his decision fast. This was not a place he wanted to stay. He slipped away on foot as quietly as he could manage. But even as he put distance between himself and the camp, those unsettling sounds trailed right behind him. Whatever was out there, it was making one thing very clear.
Here. Can't even run because it's... I just heard something. Something made a sound in my ear.
February 2005. What started as an ordinary solo camping excursion took a sharp turn into something far more disturbing. Nikki, a backcountry solo adventurer who documents her trips on her channel Nikki TV, headed deep into the wilderness, pushing through roads still bearing the wounds of a hurricane from months before. The trek itself was brutal: mudslides, eroded paths, trees brought down by the storm. But it was the forest itself that would put her nerves through their paces.
And the damages they're extreme. But yeah, so some of the roads are a little rutted and messed up from the rain and the mudslides and the trees that fell over. But yeah, I'm a little nervous. I got it. It really makes it easy for me to get in and out the back of my 4Runner. Also, when I put up my rain tarp that connects to the back of my 4Runner, when it comes time to take it down, when it's raining, this gives me a clean...
Once camp was set up and the area partially cleared, Nikki headed out for a brief hike before the sun went down. That's when it hit her. Loud, deliberate knocking sounds reverberating between the trees. She tried to dismiss it at first, maybe an animal, maybe the wind. The knocking eventually faded, but that gnawing sense of unease refused to follow.
Thought I heard some knocking coming from that direction. Kind of sound like somebody knocking on a tree. But could have been a woodpecker or anything like that, I guess.
Back at her campsite, she began preparing for the night ahead, hanging up lights and calling her husband out to join her. What was supposed to be a calm, quiet evening turned into anything but. The two ventured down a nearby trail and came across something that stopped them cold. A massive impression pressed deep into the muddy ground, bigger than either of their own footprints and far too deliberate to ignore. Then the strange flashes started, odd reflections catching Nikki's camera lens, faint but recurring, as though something just outside their line of sight was moving through the trees.
Oh, here comes my husband. I can tell because that's his Toyota. Oh. You can barely see his headlights coming through the mountain. Oh, he's jamming too. He's feeling good.
The tension between them grew heavier. The quiet felt charged. Even with company, neither of them could shake the creeping feeling that they weren't alone out there. Sleep that night was restless at best, and come morning, they didn't need to debate it. They broke camp fast and got out, leaving the shadows and unanswered questions right where they found them. So what was it?
Hello.
I heard you coming from so far with that music. But it still took you a long time to get here.
Well, it's
How was your little nighttime drive?
it's all right. It's mostly daylight all the way till just a minute ago.
Did you pass that truck?
Yeah, I passed a couple.
Local wildlife, some unseen observer, or something that doesn't fit neatly into any category. Some people watch this footage and immediately recognize the signs, tree knocks, oversized tracks, visual anomalies, all textbook markers of a cryptid encounter. Others chalk the whole thing up to coincidence, but one comment in particular really nailed it. I absolutely believe in Bigfoot. I'd be in awe of you for stealth camping alone out there. I'm not sure I could ever do that, and maybe that's the question worth sitting with. Just how brave would you be out there by yourself in the pitch dark? Meet Bear, a man fueled by a love of the outdoors and an obsession with the unexplained. On his YouTube channel, Exploring with Bear, he brings his audience along into some of nature's most remote and mysterious corners. In this video, posted on May 5th, 2025, Bear joins forces with his friend Dee, the creator behind the YouTube channel Dee's Dark Adventures, for a car camping excursion into a forest that has long been whispered about as a hot spot for cryptid encounters. Both of them drawn in by the local legends, they were determined to see whether those stories had any truth behind them. Early on, the mood was relaxed and easy. They picked a spot, cooked some food, and sat around the fire laughing, fully caught up in the good vibes of the trip. Then, without warning, a chilling sound tore through the stillness of the trees, snapping them right back to the reason they'd made the journey out here. That was loud, that was the same thing. I got that on camera. Did you? I think I need to. Yeah, I'm recording, yeah. I need to pay you. Without a second thought, Bear and Dee grabbed their equipment and moved toward the noise, hoping to figure out what had produced those sudden, reverberating bangs, and maybe even get it on film.
This one I was thinking maybe a tree snapped in half, but there, and I didn't get that on camera, but the second one, there's no way,
Right,
you know,
I
two.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I get it all
So
the time.
so that throws me even more then, because it's not just the one.
Oh, come on.
It's raining.
This trail here leads you straight to the lake
Oh, we got two trails.
and the island that I told you about.
It don't look like many people take that trail.
No.
Something just moving over there.
Dude.
Wait a minute.
Dude, there's eyes.
Wait a minute.
Dude.
Oh, my camera's not getting that.
I got it. Oh my god, dude.
There-
Dude!
What is that?
I don't know. These are the eyes. Dude.
I can't zoom. My camera's so stinking wet. There's two of them.
Dude.
There's two. Those things are freaking huge. Hey, hold on. Man, that ain't normal eyes. Normal eyes. That ain't normal. Whoa.
That was all it took for Bear and Dee to feel genuinely threatened. Whatever those eyes belonged to, whether some known animal or something far less explainable, they were too big, too unusual, and uncomfortably close. They had come out here chasing excitement, but putting themselves in real danger was never the intention. Without a backward glance, they pushed through the woods as quickly as they could, praying that whatever lurked behind them wasn't giving chase. Once they made it back to camp, the surroundings seemed still. Nothing appeared to have trailed them, yet that gnawing sense of dread refused to fade. Safely locked inside their vehicle for the night, they were finally able to breathe, though the questions kept circling in their heads. So what exactly did Bear and Dee encounter out there in the dark? A wild animal, a strange trick of the shadows? Or could it be something far more unsettling, something that exists just beyond the edges of what we think we know? Drop your theories in the comments below. David from the channel Overland Nomad is the kind of person who wouldn't trade a rugged campsite for the fanciest hotel on earth. Hand him a beat-up Toyota, an empty highway stretching to the horizon, and he's completely in his element. His channel revolves around overlanding, off-road travel, and life inside a truck camper he designed and constructed on his own. His dog Piper tags along for most of the journey. She's essentially a co-host at this point. For this particular outing, he's making his way down to South Padre Island, Texas, one of the places he keeps coming back to.
We are gonna be camping on the beach. I got my 94 Toyota pickup. I'm gonna be camping in my DIY pop-top camper. We got Piper with us, and we already have our first obstacle, which is right in the entrance to the beach. You gotta throw four-wheel drive on. All right.
He scouts out a solid spot set back a little from the dunes and makes camp. The wind eventually dies down, and David has the whole stretch of beach entirely to himself. 20 miles of shoreline, completely deserted. There was one thing he noted though. Far down the beach in the distance, he could make out the dim glow of headlights from another vehicle. Just a single car. Nothing that seemed concerning. Or so it appeared. Then he gets to cooking fajitas. Right in the middle of it, he glances out the window and spots a light moving in his direction.
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué? ¿Necesita hacer llamada? ¿Qué necesita? I kid you not, I was cooking and I was just having to stare through the window and I see a light like coming up, like someone walking, and I freaked me out. I got my protection. And
the person walking toward him turned out to be a woman. She told him her car had gotten stuck up near the East Cut and that she needed assistance. David offered what he was able to. He had cell signal and volunteered to make a call on her behalf. She insisted her phone wasn't picking up any reception, but David knew from experience that you get a signal near the East Cut, and something about the whole encounter just felt off.
I'm gonna pack up and leave. So that was a weird situation. I got a really bad vibe about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and skedaddle because it just didn't sound right. She had a freaking phone. I offered her to make a phone call. She said no. You know, I might sound like a jerk, but I don't know, man. I'm out here by myself. There's no patrolling law enforcement out here. You're on your own, like the Wild West. Last thing I want to happen is get jumped or robbed or something. I mean, I can see the car light up there, like it comes in and out, but I don't know. I don't want to be...
He broke down the entire camp and cleared out. David even dialed 911 to report what had happened.
911, I called the county just to report it, and they said they couldn't do much. They're like, we can't send anyone out there to like rescue or anything. Like, they're on their own on that one. And then I told them my predicament, and the guy was like, oh yeah.
The dispatcher on the other end wasn't about to second guess his decision. Now, I'm sure some of you are sitting there thinking, maybe she really was just stranded and needed a hand. And honestly, maybe that's all it was. David himself admitted he hoped she was being genuine and that he felt uneasy about the whole thing afterward. But here's what you can't ignore. This particular stretch of coast has a well-documented history of criminal activity. David brought it up himself. Bodies have turned up at Access 6. Trafficking is a known problem in that area, and if something goes sideways out there, nobody is coming to help you. And then there's the phone situation. You're stranded on a beach, someone offers to place a call for you, and you turn them down. That's the detail that just won't sit right. So where do you stand on this? Would you have stayed and offered more help, or would you have made the exact same call David did? Leave your answer in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see.
Played Red Dead Redemption. I'm sure you guys have played it. You know when you're like on horseback and you go to someone's camp at night, like they're gonna pull out their rifle on you or their revolver, because you don't do that. Like, you don't pull up to someone's camp. That's just how I felt.
One woman was spending time with her family and friends outside their house in Mexico when something unusual grabbed their attention.
Hey, escucha.
Hey, Juanita, mira. Mira.
No mames,
mira, Juanita.
Joven. Juanita, aguanta, te tiramos paro.
Espérate, deja.
No mames.
Su madre, güey. Espérate.
¿Sí puede?
Espérate.
No mames, se va a pegar un tiro.
Espérate.
¡Ah, no mames!
Ándale,
No mames.
ándale.
¡Chingatela, Juanita!
Juanita, chingatela.
¡Chingala!
¡Ey! 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 ¡No mames! ¡Están cayendo más! ¡Ey! ¡Ey! ¡Órale, hijas de su perra madre! ¡Órale, órale!
It appeared to be some sort of ritual taking place disturbingly close to their property. Rather than freezing up in panic, a woman named Juanita got to her feet and marched directly toward the group. What unfolded next left everyone stunned. She went on the offensive against the self-proclaimed witches and sent them running. Juanita didn't back down from the fear. She drove it right off her land. Jenna runs a YouTube channel called Jenna Alexis, where she regularly posts videos documenting her solo camping and bushcrafting adventures. Back in November 2024, she shared footage from a trip out to a remote stretch of crown land deep in grizzly bear country, and things took a seriously frightening turn. For the first portion of the video, everything unfolds exactly as you'd expect. Jenna is clearly no stranger to the wilderness. She fells dead trees for fuel, wades across a stream, and constructs an impressive tarp shelter using nothing but paracord and some sticks she shaped by hand. She's out there on her own, the weather is cooperating, and it has all the makings of a fantastic trip. Then, without any warning, the footage jumps to her in a full panic. Rather than relaxing at her campsite, she's frantically dismantling her shelter and cramming all of her equipment into her pack as fast as humanly possible.
Goodbye to the campsite that once almost was. I don't think I left anything. Barely got everything in my bag because I didn't fold everything properly. I'm just trying to get out of here.
There's something genuinely disturbing about watching someone who's normally so composed in the backcountry completely lose it like that. She abandons the site she spent the entire day building and essentially sprints back to her van. It's only once she's safely inside with the doors locked and the vehicle moving that she finally tells her viewers what had shaken her so badly earlier that day.
What just happened there? This morning I got here pretty early and I pulled out to the spot that I thought was going to be my spot for the night, and I was getting my backpack, getting ready to leave the car, when this white SUV pulled up and this guy walked out, and he walked up to my campsite, or where my car was parked, and he was like, "Hey, me and my girlfriend were here this morning and I left something, I'm just going to go look for it." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." But I wanted to wait inside the van until he got back out of the woods and left, so that I knew he wasn't still out there and that he wouldn't know where I was going to hike to. So I was waiting in the car for a while, and it started to get suspicious that he was out in the woods for that long. And so I walked up to his car, first of all to get the license plate, but also to see if his girlfriend was actually in there. But the windows were heavily tinted to the point that I couldn't even see in. But I walked up and around the car, so I would assume if the girlfriend was in there, she would have saw me and been like, "Hey, what's up?" You know what I mean? So I walked around the car, I couldn't see if there was someone inside. I got the license plate and I went back to my car.
That encounter from the morning is deeply unsettling on its own. A stranger rolls up to an isolated solo camper with some flimsy story about searching for something his girlfriend had misplaced, all while sitting behind windows so heavily tinted you couldn't make out anything inside. Trusting her gut, Jenna made the smart call and left immediately.
Feeling from that, so I drove my van up to another campsite. So I was already on edge all day debating if I even wanted to camp out, but I basically, like I said, I drove my van all the way to a new spot. I hid it in the trees and I hiked away from my van, so I wasn't even on the same trail as I was parked near. And then 4 p.m. rolls around and I see that same car. I know it was the same car because when I looked at the license plate, I saw his back window was gone and he just had a garbage bag over it. And I saw a white SUV pull up in the distance, and then I saw it stop where I'm pretty sure he saw me, and then he turned around and left, and as he was leaving I saw that garbage bag on the back. I was very uneasy, why did I see that man twice? Why did I never see his girlfriend that he mentioned? Why was he driving around a bunch of different campsites all day? I also don't like the vibe I got from him in the first place.
She drove several miles out and found a completely different location, deliberately concealing her van well within the tree line so it wouldn't be visible from the road, then hiked off trail to pitch her new camp. There's simply no way that's a coincidence. The chances of the same man accidentally finding her hidden off-trail spot twice in a single day are essentially non-existent. Whether he was following her tire tracks or actively cruising around targeting women camping alone, the behavior is unmistakably predatory. Fortunately, Jenna had the instincts to get out before she found out what he was really after. Still, it's deeply unsettling that she couldn't enjoy a simple camping trip without facing that kind of threat. Purgatory Road has earned a reputation as one of the most bizarre and unsettling locations on the map, and those bold enough to venture deep into its territory rarely return the same way they went in. Chris Baird was one of those people, someone who actively sought out a direct encounter with whatever calls this place home.
I'll just whisper into my device, please.
Another voice. He made camp and brought along specialized gear designed to attract and establish contact with supernatural entities. But just as he started to settle in and get his bearings, something shifted in the atmosphere around him. A shadow caught his eye, followed by a jarring sound that was unmistakably not human. Without even spinning around to look, every instinct in his body told him to get out immediately. And once he reached his vehicle, it became crystal clear that listening to those instincts was absolutely the right call.
I need to warn you.
What do you need to warn me about? I'm listening. Please keep talking.
On November 11th, 2022, the YouTube channel Wizard in the Wild uploaded some of their most distressing and emotionally raw footage to date. The channel is run by Graham and Ellie, a couple who typically document a tranquil van life journey alongside their 2 dogs, Luna and Maya, wandering through stunning natural landscapes and embracing the freedom of wild camping around the UK. But on this particular evening, while staying at what seemed like a calm and well-regarded location, something happened that would fundamentally shatter their sense of safety and leave both of them emotionally scarred. The pair had been making their way through Scotland and the Isle of Arran, but pressing matters back home meant they had to cut the adventure short and head south. After an exhausting drive, they pulled into a small, seemingly peaceful motorhome stop in Altrincham, near Greater Manchester. The spot had solid reviews, was nestled among trees, and sat conveniently close to the Pennine Way, which was ideal for walking Luna and Maya. While they didn't typically like rolling into a stop after nightfall, a combination of bad weather and heavy traffic gave them no real alternative. Once they arrived, they took the dogs out for a walk, cooked some dinner, and wound down for the night. At around 1 a.m., Ellie was jolted awake by the heavy thudding bass of a nearby car stereo. The music cut out suddenly, and seconds later, a thunderous impact rocked the entire camper van, snapping them both to attention.
Just can't believe it. We've just been woken up with a loud bang, and you dropped something on the floor there. Or was that glass? 2 bricks. And someone's just smashed Merlin's windows while we were sleeping. So no, we don't recommend this as a place to stop. They smashed the windscreen, but Graham's hoping he can drive with that. But here's us in the middle of nowhere, with a broken window and a cracked windscreen, 200 miles from home. So, pretty awful really. Just don't know what to do. I'm still in shock, literally. Just, we heard this really loud boom, 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 boom music, because we think it was just boy racers. And suddenly the music went quiet, and it was just loud bang, and Graham reckons there was 2 of them, because the bricks hit the van at the same time, and it's pouring with rain. I don't know how we're going to get home.
Graham's first instinct was that a tree branch had come down on the roof, until he recalled that he had specifically chosen to park clear of any trees. The moment he stepped outside, the reality hit him. 2 large house bricks were on the ground, and the passenger side window had been completely destroyed. Their camper van, Merlin, had been deliberately targeted. Looking more closely, Graham discovered that the front windscreen had been cracked in 4 separate places, the side window was caved in, and fragments of glass were spread across the van's interior. Rain was falling hard, and water was already streaming in through the broken windows, drenching the floor, seats, and everything within reach. The ferocity of the assault was unmistakable, and the emotional weight of it hit them both immediately. Despite being in shock, they began filming the damage, both to preserve evidence and to be transparent with their audience about what they were going through. A fellow camper who had been disturbed by the commotion came over to offer a hand.
In this camper van, we don't even know their name, bless them, were absolutely lovely. They're moving on too. They had some black bags and some Gorilla Tape, so we've Graham's taped up the windows. I'm just hoping that it holds till we get home. It's a bit just gonna have to go home really steady. Hope for the best. Right.
No, not really, but what can you do?
Just want to get out of here now. We'll probably stop up the road and make a cup of tea or something, but for now we just want to go. Just so upset. I mean, I know I'm glad that we're all okay, and that's the main thing. But what a horrible thing to do. I wouldn't recommend this place as an off-grid.
This kind stranger brought black bags and gorilla tape so Graham could patch up the shattered window well enough to make the drive home. With more than 200 miles still ahead of them, Graham navigated the damaged van carefully, keeping his speed below 45 miles per hour to stop the makeshift fix from giving way. They pulled in at almost every motorway service station along the route to reinforce the tape on the window.
So thanks to Jake, we've managed to make a temporary repair. Thanks Jake, you're a legend mate. So we've made our temporary repair. Well, this is the second temporary repair. I've got just enough room there to see my rear view mirror, so we should be safe to go.
Even though traffic was light, the relentless pressure of reduced visibility, crawling speeds, and the raw shock of the night made every mile feel like a battle. As they continued homeward, the emotional weight grew heavier. Ellie, who lives with PTSD, had come to think of Merlin as her sanctuary, a mobile safe haven that had helped her reconnect with life beyond her front door. Having that space violated so brutally left her deeply shaken. She had spoken before about how wild camping brought her genuine peace and mental restoration, helping her reclaim parts of herself she feared were gone. Now all of it felt tainted. In the days that followed, the couple found themselves questioning everything. Should they carry on with wild camping? Should they switch exclusively to official sites? Should they let Merlin go entirely? The assault, which they believe was a random act of vandalism, carried out by local youths, didn't just cause physical damage to their home on wheels. It left psychological wounds on them both. Ellie described how the sight of strangers approaching the van now triggers her anxiety, and how neither of them could feel at ease in spots that once brought them nothing but happiness. Both Graham and Ellie spoke openly about the helplessness and frustration they felt. The stop had been selected carefully through a trusted app, the reviews gave no cause for concern, and there had been no visible red flags. Their only regret was arriving in the dark, which meant they couldn't properly assess the area. But at the end of the day, they did nothing wrong. The responsibility lay entirely with whoever threw those bricks. The couple has since had the windscreen and side window repaired, their insurance came through for them, and Merlin is roadworthy again, but the emotional healing is a much slower process. They've thought about scaling back how they use the van, perhaps limiting it to day trips or only visiting certified campsites, though neither option feels like a satisfying answer. Ellie admitted that she felt as though something deeply precious had been stolen from her. The ability to immerse herself in nature and then retreat into a warm, secure space had been yanked away in a single moment. Graham felt it too, describing how he now catches himself being on edge and suspicious, even during something as ordinary as a walk in the park or crossing paths with a stranger on the street. The couple were candid in admitting they still don't know what comes next. Their intention in sharing the story wasn't to put people off van life or wild camping, but to be honest about the fact that incidents like this, however uncommon, do happen, and that there's no shame in acknowledging the emotional toll when they do. This night changed them both, and quite possibly their whole relationship with van life, in ways that may never fully fade. Picture yourself deep in the forest after dark. No strange sights, just sounds you can't explain. Say hello to Corrine and Chelsea, a duo of content creators who fill their YouTube channel with vlogs, fun challenges, and feel-good moments, all driven by a mission to uplift and motivate their audience. Their videos are typically cheerful and carefree, but this one veered into something far more unsettling. For this particular outing, the two chose to camp in one of Britain's most notorious locations, Darking Woods, grimly nicknamed the Screaming Woods. This stretch of forest carries a deeply troubling reputation. Over the decades, countless visitors have reported hearing inexplicable wails echoing between the trees, and, even more disturbingly, a number of bodies have turned up in the area under baffling circumstances. Drawn in by the haunting folklore, Corrine and Chelsea decided to brave a night inside this foreboding forest, eager to discover whether the legends held any truth or were simply stories passed around to frighten people. They braced themselves for something creepy, but nothing they imagined came close to what actually awaited them. It's July 22nd, 2024. Buzzing with a mix of nerves and anticipation, Corrine and Chelsea head toward Darkening Woods. The moment they arrived, they pushed straight into the tree line, searching for the right spot to pitch their camp, with no idea that this would become a night permanently burned into their memories.
Eerie though, like you can only imagine what it's going to be like in pitch black. We need to find somewhere to fucking put our tent in. Yeah. Oh, is that a map? Oh, no camping is allowed in this woods. Oh my god. Well, we're doing it anyway. Well, we found a spot. We're not too off the path, because we had, oh my god, we had so much to carry. Wow. Is this the base? Oh, it's mosquito. It's got mosquito thing in it.
Mosquito net?
Yeah, built in. Look.
Is that the base?
No.
Yeah,
this
it
is
is.
the inner. Oh, that's the inner.
That's what the poles go through, right?
Yeah.
Shimmy it all the way round.
Getting the tent up took considerably longer than expected, partly because they had to move carefully and keep the noise down. Camping in darkening woods is outright prohibited, and the last thing they needed was to attract attention. Eventually everything came together, but once the sun vanished and darkness swallowed the forest whole, the energy around them began to change. Whether it was anxiety getting the better of them, or something genuinely sinister at work, one thing was undeniable. As the night deepened, the feeling that something else shared those woods with them grew harder and harder to shake, and they were only just getting started.
It's completely pitch black now. It's not really, everything's gone a bit wrong. We've got no signal. We've had to walk far just to get enough signal to get the stories of the area. We're shattered. Chelsea's driven for ages.
I'm knackered.
Everything's gone a bit wrong. We've squashed our breakfast.
My shoe got stuck in the mud. The whole shoe came off my foot.
Like we're getting signal. We're getting signal, then we're not getting signal. But yeah, so it's pretty creepy. And I mean, when you're in here, it doesn't feel that bad because you can't see the woods that are around us.
Can't see the woods throughout there anyway. It's too dark.
It's pitch black.
So all of a sudden, it's just gone really quiet.
I've just all of a sudden started to feel really frightened. Really frightened. Like literally, just as you said that,
it just went.
I just got a very, very horrible feeling come over me, mate.
Yeah, shush.
Mate, I'm actually kidding. I feel fucking scared.
I'm not.
No, I don't feel right. Something's not right. And I'm not being dramatic. Right as you fucking said that, I felt this horrible feeling of dread.
Alright, well don't tell me about it. You keep that to yourself.
Gone right off that cheesecake.
What?
I'm freaking myself out. Like, stop.
You are.
It was just weird that I felt that right when you said it.
Because when I spoke, it echoed through the woods.
The girls do their best to keep spirits up, trading jokes and swapping stories to take the edge off. But there's no hiding the fact that something doesn't feel right. That low, creeping dread sitting in their chests refuses to budge no matter what they try. Even so, Corinne and Chelsea aren't willing to give up. They hold on to the reason they came out here, to stare down their fears and get to the bottom of the legends. They push past the discomfort, trying to hold themselves together. But the forest clearly had its own agenda.
What? Yeah, me burping like that. It's terrible.
That light turned itself off, mate, and it can't turn it off unless you hold it down.
It's probably the battery's
No,
going.
mate.
The battery's probably going.
Mate, I barely used it.
Mate.
I'm telling you right now. That doesn't. I'm telling you now.
Okay.
On my life.
All right.
You have to.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. Do you?
Mate, that's creepy.
Do you
no,
care?
I'm fine. But
Okay. Oh my God! Stop. Stop
I'm
it now.
telling you now.
Just stop it now. Just leave it off. Just leave it off. It's running out of battery.
Right, I'm putting this on because if that one goes out, I'm scared.
No.
Yeah.
It's running out of battery. That's all. I'm telling you now.
I haven't used it.
It's just running out of battery. That's all.
And do you know what? Maybe it is running out of battery. Maybe it is, but
I've got a logic explanation for
it
everything.
could be running out of battery. But
I really
I've
have.
never used it except for that.
As though the already suffocating atmosphere wasn't enough, the light inside their tent switched off on its own. Not once, but twice. What might have been written off as a dodgy flashlight felt like something or someone deliberately toying with them. And it didn't stop there. The night seemed to drop in temperature, the woods fell unnervingly silent, and with every minute that ticked by, the dread around them thickened. What had begun as an adrenaline-fueled adventure was gradually unraveling into something far darker.
At the end of the day, that might be run out of battery, but
someone said okay.
It is new. I haven't used it before. And
that's just people.
I heard a scream.
It's just people. Should we go to sleep? Should we go to sleep now?
Turn the lights off.
The car's there.
Yeah, I know. But
Sleep right now. Got it.
we need to stay quiet because there are people. That wasn't a ghost. That was a person, and we don't want people seeing where we are because people like fucking scary people. That was people. That wasn't a ghost. Obviously not. My battery's gonna die. Oh no. Shit, where's the power bank?
Paralyzed with fear, Corinne and Chelsea sat motionless inside their tent, barely daring to breathe, waiting for the strange noises outside to be swallowed by silence. When the quiet finally came, it offered only a brief sense of relief before becoming even more unnerving than the sounds themselves. Whatever had been lurking out there was either gone or had simply stopped making itself known. Not knowing which was worse made every passing second feel like an eternity. Still, they made the call to stay. With no real means of protecting themselves and no safe route out, remaining exactly where they were seemed like the only option. They killed their lights, pressed close together, and prayed that whatever was out there wouldn't notice them. Every snapped branch and shuffling leaf sent a fresh wave of terror through them both. Somehow, they made it to morning, though sleep was barely part of the equation.
Happened. There was a few creepy things that I wished we'd got on camera. I heard, so as I was drifting off to sleep, I've just suddenly been woken up by this horrible feeling of dread and this flashing image of someone like that against the tent. Now obviously that doesn't mean anything, but it was creepy and it freaked me out, really freaked me out, and it made me feel really uneasy for a while. Anyway, I ended up falling back asleep again, and then
I don't know what time it was, but
about 3ish.
Was it about
10
past 3? I woke up. Was that when a rustling?
Yeah, because you said
there was rustling around the tent, like quite a lot. Obviously, it could be an animal or something.
Yeah,
obviously.
but it was like someone was touching the tent.
There was nothing. Mate, it was like someone was in the tent, like in the conservatory bit.
Oh god.
So it was like
That's
rustling
scary.
and rustling, and I thought I woke Corinne up and I was like, Corinne, is that you? Can you hear that? And she just goes,
because I was half asleep.
She's half asleep, actually. She just goes, no, it's not me, I'm dead still. And then just went back to sleep. And then it continued for a little while. But the thing is, with that rustling noise, there was no noise before or after it. It just kind of appeared at the end of the tent, and it was just like, oh my god.
And there was nothing. The wind wasn't really bad. It did then start to rain.
It was raining. That had an effect on, maybe hearing stuff.
Other stuff. We did hear branches breaking, but it'd be once in a while a branch would snap.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like sort of footsteps were walking and snapping. It was just once in a while a branch sounded like it got trod on. But we kind of just tried to ignore it, because at this point we couldn't really film because we didn't want to have.
No.
If we do something like this again, we're gonna have to
We didn't want to make a big deal out of something that potentially wasn't anything.
Well, there shouldn't have been branches snapping. There's not really animals heavy enough. Like there's deer.
Despite having just survived one of the most harrowing and sleepless nights of their lives, the only thing that truly mattered was that both of them came out of it unscathed. But the terror they experienced was absolutely genuine, and the unexplained sounds and relentless sensation of being watched weren't things they could simply brush aside once daylight returned. One thing was beyond question. This would be the first and very last time either of them ever set foot in the notorious Darking Woods after dark. So, would you have the nerve to spend a night in the screaming woods, or do you think there's a perfectly rational explanation for everything Corinne and Chelsea went through? Either way, it's a reminder that the experiences we can't make sense of are often the ones that never truly leave us.